What's up, guys? This is Ryan Johnson with moneybass.com, and today we're going to have a little discussion about how you can use your Humminbird 360 Mega imaging to compete and beat Garmin Livescope and Lowrance Active Target. But before we get into that, just wanted to give a few shout outs to some guys that have been continuing to support the channel. I went back, took a look at the comments from yesterday. I think I've already replied to everybody, but want to give a shout out to Corey Morton, Roy Wimberly Jr., Chauncey Davis, Mike Gardner, Dave Rosenberg, and 362nd Campbell. You guys, I really appreciate the comments, the questions that you had a good back and forth on that a little bit. But as for today, the Humminbird 360 Mega imaging. So what I would say is, let's first take a look at these quick clips so I can show you how I use my 360 on the lake.
Now that is lovely. Fish, brush pile, brush pile. Let me go ahead and mark that. What I'm finding is a bunch of suspended fish. You can see that right there. There's a ditch. See it on this down scan. It's a bunch of fish mixed in there. The problem is that they're suspended. They've been doing a lot of following, but not hitting it. So it's just kind of like a patience and numbers game. Out here in 19 feet of water, anywhere from 15 to up to 25. All right, that's another decent fish. But there they go. You can see the fish. See some suspended fish. They're fish off inside of that brush pile. All right, there we go. That's the kind of thing that you come out here looking for. That's a bunch of fish just outside of that brush pile. You have bait fish. You have fish stacked up following those bait fish. Oh yeah, now that is lovely, lovely, lovely. Look at all those fish mixed in with those brush piles back to back. As you can see, I'm over here with some rocks. A nice group of rocks off to my left. And you can see other submerged timber and things like that in there. But that's a real good picture of a tree that I'm sitting right on top of. That's what it looks like on the sonar. I went through here and marked a bunch of different things in there, trying to see if I can get some of these fish out of here with a shaky head. Just trying something new out here on practice day. Like I said, it's not about catching fish, but it's about finding the fish and seeing what technique it takes in order to get those fish to the boat.
Basically, what that shows you is time on the water. Regardless of how many videos you watch, how much we talk about it, things like that, you can't beat time on the water and putting in the work that it takes in order to understand what you're seeing on that graph and how to use it and get the most out of those units whenever you're out on the water. Also, wanted to go ahead and show you this. I took my boat in for my 100-hour service and just wanted to show you a breakdown of the hours and what the idling speed or the RPMs were as I was using the boat throughout the season. All right, so here is the history report on my motor once I took it in for my service. And what I want you to pay attention to is on these engine hours. Out of 110 hours, you can see the majority of the time is spent idling. And basically what that shows you is that I spend a lot of time idling around, marking waypoints, locating structure, cover, fish. And I would say that that information that I'm gathering during that time is key. That is a very real key factor in being able to pull up on that structure and use that 360, because now remember, I can see that structure. That 360 is vital in me being able to place each one of those casts where I need them to be, and helps me be a lot more efficient on the water. And the other thing to keep in mind is that 360 rotates 360 degrees all around the boat, so I'm able to see structure even that I'm not currently fishing whenever I come up on something new that I haven't seen before. I go into these tournaments knowing that I'm going to be competing against guys that have more experience than I do, have been fishing for way longer than me, may know how to use their electronics better, have a better setup, all of that stuff. And on top of all of that, they may have active target, which is going to give them a live view of what they're seeing under the water, whether there's fish in those locations or not. And in some cases, they can even tell how big those fish are. I don't have any of those advantages, but the advantage that I do have is, in some cases, spending that time on the water where I can go out, use my 2D sonar, use my side scan, and also use my 360 and get all of those things set up so that I know what I'm looking at whenever I get out there on tournament day. So I would say that once I get out on the lake, and let's say it's tournament time, and I already have a spot where I'm going to head to, and that person that has active target knows where they're going, and they know what they're looking at. There's certain conditions that no one can dictate. Weather changes, water current, water flow, all those different types of things. So whenever I first pull up on a spot, what I'm doing is looking at that 360, and I can see the structure. I may or may not be able to see fish, but I can definitely see where I need to place each one of those casts. And that allows me to pull up to a spot, cast a few times, and what I'm searching for are the aggressive fish within that structure. Again, keep in mind, I can't see the fish. So my cast, I have to make each one of my casts count. If I don't get any bites, I'm able to pick up and take off because there may not even be a fish there, but I know I'm hitting that structure. And with someone with active target, and these are some kind of conversations that we have going back and forth. We always talk trash to each other on the lake, off the lake, phone calls, all that stuff. It's all in good fun. But with the active target, what I hear is they may pull up to a spot and they may see a fish. It may be something that looks like it's a 4-pounder. Depending on how well you know how to use that active target, could be a 4-pound catfish. Who knows? But if you are focused in and honed in on that, but let's say it is a bass and they're just not biting at that particular time. So you may sit there and work that bait. If you spend too much time in that location, I've already hit 5 or 10 other spots before you even left that one. So to me, that is an advantage that I'll have with the Humminbird, because in some cases you can get too much information. A good example for that for me is I like to drop shot a lot. And with drop shotting, it's pretty much like video game fishing, similar to using a Livescope. But since I've been drop shotting for a while, I can tell by the way the fish are reacting and things like that if they're going to bite or not going to bite. Let me show you a quick clip of what I'm talking about.
But look, so you can see my bait going down. You see that line right there? Okay. And then it went down there into that red stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's the brush pile down there. Yeah. Because fish don't have brush piles, don't they? Mm-hmm. See, there's the fish again. So watch. You see this line coming up? Yep. Right here? Yep. See, that fish sees it. See him going down? Okay. See him going, he's chasing my bait now. He's chasing it fast. That one's probably gonna hit it because he chased it fast. That's a nice fish too.
Okay, so with that situation, I was able to pull up, see that fish on the graph, and can tell by how active and how aggressive that fish was that it was going to bite. Now, sometimes they'll do that and they won't bite. I don't sit there and keep trying to make that fish bite. I'll pack up and leave because I know I can go locate fish in other places. With Livescope or any type of live imaging, if you're not used to seeing that type of activity on the screen, or may not really understand fish behavior yet because you're kind of new to seeing active fish and fishing for fish that you can see, as opposed to just going down the bank and you're just making casts and not really knowing whether there's a fish there or not. Now you can see that fish and you have to kind of gauge your time. Time management is really key. Time management is key whenever you're fishing for these fish that you can see on the screen. That learning curve can really get someone. And another thing you guys need to remember is the same way that you're watching this video, looking to learn new things, hear different opinions, different thought processes, things like that, the same way that I go out and I look at YouTube or just other places where I pull information from, constantly looking to learn. I'm always getting questions from people about the electronics, about different things regarding fishing. So from that, I have come to see that a lot of people, even when they're leaving comments as if they know what they're seeing on the screen, that they know how to set up their units, all of these things, there's a lot of people I would say the vast majority of people have these units and they don't know how to efficiently use those units. So although you may be competing against someone that has that equipment, they may not know how to use it. And think about this, before we even had Livescope, side imaging, down imaging, the Mega 360, there were still people catching 20-pound bags. Those people are still out there that can catch those 20-pound bags without having to rely on electronics. So the number one thing that I would say is don't worry about what someone else is doing. Just focus on getting that bag that you need. If you know you can bring in a 15 to 20-pound bag, there's a good chance you may be in the running for something depending on your competitors and what lake you're fishing. So those are the tips that I would say, guys, in my opinion, of how you can use your Humminbird 360 to beat Livescope and Active Target. All right, guys, so that's it for today. Let me know what you guys think. What are your thoughts? What are your comments? What is your opinion on using a Humminbird 360 to beat Active Target and to beat Livescope? I'm hoping you guys have some really interesting comments and replies to this, and I'll probably make another video talking about the same thing, and I may bring somebody else in that actually has a Livescope unit or an Active Target to get their views and everything, and maybe we can go back and forth a little bit. That might be kind of interesting to hear somebody else's thoughts on this. But all right, guys, I really appreciate you continuing to support the channel. Please hit the like button, it really helps me out, and subscribe to the channel. Share the videos with your friends, let other people know what's going on, and let's continue to work together to make everybody out here do a little bit better on the lake for the next time. All right, guys, talk to you later.